Good morning. Can you all see and can you all hear me? Okay. I'm going to make a small introduction of how I have arrived here. And it starts many years ago. My grandparents, my father's parents, left Masar Shuf uh, many years ago. And my mother's parents left Ma'asad, Mashkara. They came to the States. I was born in 1946, moved to Lebanon at the age of 12, attended this school from 58 until 64. And as the Dean of Students explained, my father was a professor at AUB. I then went to Worcester Polytechnic Institute, became a chemical engineer in 69. Left, tried to work at that, but I decided it wasn't exactly why I was on this earth, and returned here to teach math and chemistry until the war broke out in 1975 and had to move out of Lebanon. And going to the States, I arrived in Greece, and stayed in Greece for almost 50 years now. We have a center there called Harmonikizoi, which means harmonious life. It's a nonprofit organization with about 8,000 members and 600 students, and many followers on YouTube and there. Now, I always say in the beginning of my lectures, not to accept anything that I say, just because I say it. I encourage you to think for yourselves, examine everything, take in information from all sources, and then decide for yourself what you believe, okay? If you would like more information about what I'm going to explain to you today, you can write down this email. I think it's on your paper anyway, ren@otenet.gr. If you send that email, I will send you for free a link with 20 emails about how to use energy psychology for yourself or for helping other people. How to combine the methods, what it is, how to use it for anxiety, manifesting goals, for self-acceptance, Ho'oponopono, I'll explain that a little later, overcoming fear, okay, romantic rejection, you know what that is, right? Feeling rejected by someone you're in love with, dealing with injustice, dealing with negativity, and there's a lesson on what is called the healing code, how we can heal ourselves physically and emotionally. Then there's a lesson on resistance to happiness. Some people are afraid of being happy. This is another issue. The roles that we play with family and others, how we can forgive others, how we can forgive ourselves. These are all lessons which are about 1 hour, and then a technique, an exercise at the end in order to manifest that. And then there's a lesson on health issues, a lesson on addiction to substances, healing what we call the inner child in our subconscious, a part of ourself which continuously doubt whether we're worthy or whether we can do things in life, and then dealing with the death of a loved one. These are all on that one page, which I am willing to give you for free out of my gratitude for this school and for Lebanon and understanding the situation in Lebanon at this time. Okay. Anywhere else it would cost a lot of money, this kind of thing. So what is energy psychology? It's also called tapping. Do any of you already know about this? Raise your hand. One, two, okay, two people only, okay. It's called tapping or tapping therapy. It's a technique where students or adults gently tap with their fingertips on specific acupressure points on the face and the hands and the body while focusing on a feeling that you want to let go of. The feeling of fear, the feeling of anxiety, the feeling of disappointment, of anger, whatever that may be. It's used to reduce stress, anxiety, and test related nerves in schools, okay? And with the help of emotional regulation. It's used in the US, the UK, and Australia as a part of a mindfulness or well-being program, usually taught by the school counselors, psychologists, or visiting practitioners. I would be very happy to train any teachers that are here and want to do that over the internet because I'm living in Greece, to do that and to help the children here to overcome the anxiety of exams or the fear of rejection, whatever that may be. Its reported benefits include calmer classrooms, reduced exam stress, and better focus. There have been many studies suggesting lower cortisol, that is lower anxiety stress hormone, and the improved self-reported anxiety. Any of you know who this man is? Deepak Chopra? Oh, okay. He's a teacher in America, Indian, but he's teaching spiritual meditation. He says EFT, emotional freedom techniques, offers great healing benefits. Here's a psychiatrist in Canada. He says, EFT has been for me the single most effective technique I have used in my 45 years of practice as a psychiatrist. I have had success with panic, social anxiety, and many other disorders. Another psychiatrist in America. In my 50 years of practicing as a practicing psychiatrist, EFT has proven to be the most rapid and effective technique I've ever used. Now, there's been a compilation of 100 studies on clinical studies of EFT and what it helps. Addictions, eating disorders, weight loss, anger, anxiety, depression, epigenetics, you know what that is? It's the fact that our genes can actually change the way they function. This is new. Until now, we have believed that we are controlled by our genes. But now we understand that certain foods and certain ways of thinking and feeling can actually change the functioning of our genes. Learning disorders, pain, phobias, sports, and athletic performance. How is it done? It's very simple. Any emotion you have, or any physical pain you have, or any strong desire to do something that you won't want to do, like smoke or eat something, whatever it may be, take drugs, whatever it may be, you focus on the energy of that feeling. Okay, I'm feeling fear. I'm feeling anxiety. I'm feeling rejected. I'm feeling unworthy. We focus on that and we measure how strong it is. 0 is that I'm not feeling it at all. 10 is I'm feeling it very strongly. Okay. So you would say, okay, this anxiety I have for my exam tomorrow, how strong is it from 0 to 10? We focus on that and we accept it. We accept that we feel this emotion. So the first step is to accept the emotion or accept the feeling or accept the pain. Then we accept letting go. Now you might think that any person would want to let go of their fear or let go of their anxiety, but it's not always true. Sometimes it's the belief that if I fear something, I will be more careful. You understand what I'm saying? What? It's true, right? uh, for example, an example that was given to me was someone who had bought a new computer and it wouldn't accept any emails and he couldn't go to any website. And when he called the company, they explained to him they had to lower the degree of carefulness, if you like, of that particular program, okay? Now, many of us have these fears which prevent us from being able to actually perform in our lives. Once we accept the existence of the emotion. And once we accept letting it go, then we start tapping on these acupressure points. We can press on them or tap on them, and that will change our energy field. It changes the energy field of every emotion has its own energy field. Okay? And by tapping, we cause the energy to begin to flow in those acupuncture meridians. But there are other ways. There are placing the hand just more distance from the face or the body, breathing techniques, and other ways of changing our energy when we are focused on the emotion. Okay. We don't try to ignore the emotion. We are focused on it. We want to change the way we experience it. In this way, we develop a new way of perceiving ourselves, of perceiving others, and of perceiving life. So we accept how we feel, we accept the change, we change the energy state, and in the end, we want to see how can I see myself, how can I see the others and this situation differently. Our beliefs create our reality. What we believe, basically we create and we attract. We are enclosed in a belief system which is created when we were children. We could not understand that our parents had problems, and when they were angry at us, we believed that it was our fault, that we're not worthy. We do a lot of work with adults trying to heal what we call the inner child. That part of us which continues to believe that we're not worthy, we're not able, we can't do it. And so we need to go back. It's called regression. Going back to those childhood experiences and being able to perceive them in a different way. If our parents are angry at us, it could be because we're doing something wrong, but it could also be because they're afraid, or they have problems, or they have anxiety. Okay. Now we have many basic beliefs. One basic belief is my self-worth is dependent on what others think about me. How many of you have made this assumption? My self-worth is dependent on how others perceive me. This is how you've been programmed, right? Do we care about what other people think? This is what we have learned, right? Especially your peers. What your peers think about you, okay? So the first belief is that my worthiness is dependent on what other people think about me, how they behave towards me. The second is the results of my efforts. How many of you believe that? I'm more worthy if I have good results and less worthy if I don't have as good results. Is that true? Is that how we've been programmed? Is it true? I don't think so. It's how we've been programmed. But when I say worthy, I mean worthy of acceptance, worthy of love, and worthy of respect. No one is worthy of less love and respect because they don't have good grades. So there are some beliefs that we need to examine and see if this is really true. Another programming is my self-worth depends on how I compare with others. In grades, in athletic ability, in appearance. How many of you have been programmed that your self-worth depends on your appearance? How you appear to others, okay? So all of these, for me, are not true. Everyone is worthy of acceptance, worthy of love, independent of their appearance or their grades or any of the results that they have. The second basic concept I would like you to think about is that we are not victims, but we are creators. You know, there's a big difference between Newtonian physics and quantum physics. Does anyone know the difference? Have you been taught Newtonian physics in high school? Newtonian physics is a form of physics in which one thing affects another. And being that which is being affected is independent. Okay. What I'm saying is that we are affecting our reality. We are affecting how people see us. When we don't accept ourselves, others are not going to accept us. When we fear rejection, we're going to attract rejection. If I fear rejection, I'm going to see rejection where it doesn't exist. If I fear being suppressed, I'm going to see an attempt to suppress me where it doesn't exist. I will project. So we are creating our reality by the way we perceive and also by the way we attract. Our challenge is to create the most harmonious, happy, loving reality that we can. Is that what you want? Hmm? A happy reality? Okay. So, health, love, happiness, success, respect, acceptance, abundance, freedom, these are all needs that we have, and we'd like that. But the thing is that these just don't happen. We create them. Okay. So we are happy when we have everything we want. Mishek. Okay. We're happy when we have everything that we want. We're unhappy when we do not have everything that we want. So all of you have a list of things that you want to have. And if they're all fulfilled, you're happy. But if there's something missing, we're not happy. When we do not have everything we want, we have two solutions. What do you suggest? There are only two solutions when we don't have everything. If I have a list, I want this person to love me and this person to respect me. I want this amount of money. I want this kind of job. I want this appearance, whatever it may be, whatever you want. Yes? I can't hear you. Okay. So we have two solutions. You're saying that we have to fulfill this need. Okay? We have to be more able to create what we want. So one lesson in life is becoming more capable of manifesting, of creating what we want. Okay? The second is learning to be happy even if we don't have what we want. So there are things in life that we can create and there are things that we cannot create. Okay? So what we want to know is be able to distinguish between them. What we cannot change, the past. Anyone here able to change the past? Colors, it's finished. We can't, it happened. But we can change how we perceive it. The past doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is our interpretation of the past. So if I interpret the past as unjust, as I am guilty, the other is guilty, nothing is fair, I have failed, and I let that eat me away, then the past is not the problem. It's my keeping the past in my mind in the end and creating that situation. Okay. So we can't change the past. We can't change very much how other people think and behave. If you discover a way to do that, tell me, because I'd like to use it, okay? We can't really control how other people are going to behave to us. And we can't change some situations. But what can we change? Our health. There are ways of creating health. Our grades, our reactions in our relationships, our abilities, our behaviors, our profession, our economic situation, our location, way of life, the world. There are many things that we can change. So if we want to create happiness, we need to do two things. Become able of creating what we want to create and being able to accept what we cannot change. Okay, we need both of those. When we worry about what we do not have, we lose what we have. For example, if I have a list of 20 things that I want, and there's one on there, I don't have the acceptance of this one specific person, then I need that person's acceptance. Okay? It's like we don't have all the rest of them. We ignore all the beautiful things that we have because we're always worried about the one that we don't have. Now, there is a method which was created by doctors in California It's called the Heart Math Institute, in which they discovered that our emotions affect our heart. Not a big discovery, I would say. It's pretty logical, right? And that our heart has an electromagnetic field 50 times stronger than the electromagnetic field of our brain. So our emotions affect our heart's electromagnetic field, which affects our brain and changes the way we think. And they discovered a method called freeze frame. In Greece, we translated it into listening to the heart. Okay? It's a method in which we focus on someone that we love, we experience love, and then we again focus on the problem. Okay? This method has shown it strengthens the immune system, reduces aging, okay? And it's an antidepressant hormone. It increases focus, increases sleep, calmness, reduces anxiety, fatigue, and depression. 5 minutes of negative feelings can diminish the strength of our immune system for 5 hours. This is what they discovered. And 5 minutes of love and gratitude enhance the effectiveness of our immune system. Okay. I think there's some wisdom here also in praying 5 times a day, or 5 times a day thinking of someone you love. So that's 5 hours of increased immune response. Okay. It also balances our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Now, what determines how we feel about various circumstances in our lives? We give everything the meaning it has for us. Each person sees everything differently. So each of us is creating a different internal reality based on our beliefs, based on what we might call our programming. Our thoughts and our emotions create our reality. And what are our childhood programmings? I can't do it. I'm not worthy. I must be perfect. How many of you need to be perfect? Let's see. Hands. No one has to be perfect here? Okay, that's good. Nobody loves me. I'm not good enough. These are all programmings that go into our subconscious mind when we're children. The events and situations in our lives are not our reality. Our reality is the importance and the interpretation that we give to them. Okay. How many of you have gone to a movie together? Are there any movies anymore? Everything is home now? It's Netflix? When I was here, I was here from 58 to 64. Okay. I'll be 80 in a few months. Okay. So we would go to the movies. And when we leave the movies, no one saw the same movie. Everyone saw something else. Everyone interpreted it differently. Okay. This is the subjective nature of the mind. Okay. Now, this is a way that we use in our self-knowledge seminar. We have a seminar which is 7 years. You can do it for a month if you want. Each person goes along as long as he likes. And in order to understand how we create our reality, this is the stimulus. Okay, the stimulus is something that someone says, something that happens. We win at something, we achieve good grades, we win the basketball game, whatever it may be. That is the input. Here is the computer in which we have various applications, various programmings. And these programmings do something different with that information. Those programmings then create our emotions, and our emotions create our reactions. Our freedom to be happy and our freedom to succeed in life is to be able to change the programmings here. And that's why I have written here alternative beliefs, to begin to increase our ability to perceive life and ourselves in a different way. This is an interesting thing that was going through the internet. There was a woman, a couple that were living in a house, and another couple moved into the house across the way. And every time women in the house across the way would hang their clothing, they appeared dirty. They weren't clean. And she kept commenting to her husband, look, their washing machine is not working. they have dirty clothing. And so one day, when she came home and she looked out the window, the clothes were clean. And the husband said, no, no, I washed our windows. Wait I washed our windows. Okay. So think about that. If I'm wearing glasses which are pink, you're all going to be pink. And if they're blue, you're all going to be blue. Okay. There's a tremendous amount of subjectivity in our brain. And we want to overcome that and see things objectively in our lives. Beliefs can actually alter natural laws. I don't know if you ever heard of the fire walking. Have you ever heard of that or seen that? It happens in Greece, it happens in Albania. People actually, on certain days of the year, believe that they are protected by certain saints. They do some chanting and some dancing, and they get into a trance-like state, and they walk on the coals. I have seen them. I have been there, and I could feel the heat of the coals. I even took pictures of it, and even their socks didn't burn. They changed the laws of nature by believing so deeply that I don't suggest it, okay? We're not suggesting that you do this, okay? But that's how powerful the mind is. Now, there's also a law which is called the law of attraction. So one part of creating our reality is the meaning that we give to everything. The other is the law of attraction, which I mentioned. If I fear what people think of me, if I fear rejection, if I fear failure, I will attract those. Okay. But the law of attraction also works positively. If I love someone, if I feel gratitude, I attract more of what I feel gratitude about. Because our emotions are very important. And it's better not to entertain negative emotions for a long time because they tend to attract more of what we don't like. Better to create a reality based on positive emotions, love, happiness, gratitude, and appreciation. These will attract more and more of what we appreciate. Next. Now, these are the methods that we teach. Emotional freedom techniques, be set free fast. This is created by a psychiatrist. Tapas acupressure techniques created by an acupressurist. The Sedona method, has anyone heard of that? Ho'oponopono, anyone heard of that? Brain balancing, healing code, heart math, and inspired questions. These are 8 methods. There are more here, but 8 methods which we use to help people create their desired reality, both by perceiving things differently, but also by changing the external reality. Here are the tapping points. My wife, who is an acupuncturist, could tell you what they mean, but it doesn't really matter now. These are the points that we tap on while we are focused on the emotion we would like to get free from. Fear, anxiety, rejection, unworthiness, whatever that may be. We start on the back of the head. We tap on all these points as we go up, and then we come over the top of the head. We tap on these points, and this is changing our energy field, and thus changing the strength of that emotion. And there's a few more points here that we tap. So as we tap on these points, we are changing the intensity of the emotion. And then we can begin to install the new belief. Any of you ever seen a cassette? We used to have cassettes, okay? And our music was on cassettes. There was the 8, then there was the small cassettes, and then we had the DVDs and the CDs. Well, the cassette, you could erase it, and you could put another song on there. Okay. So if I try to install a new belief, if I try to install a new song without erasing the cassette, what am I going to have? 2 songs. One song which says, I'm not worthy or I'm in danger. Another song saying everything's fine. And that's how we are now. Okay. So first we have to remove the old cassette with the tapping. or this other method by this psychiatrist, which I won't explain now. And this method from Hawaii, a beautiful method in which we can really change our reality. Okay. And then the Sedona method, this guy was an aeronautical engineer. He had cancer. He was supposed to die in 3 months. He decided to experiment with his mind, and he created this method called the Sedona method, and he lived 45 more years. Not 45 years, 45 more years than the 3 months he was supposed to die. It's a very simple method. It's calm. You just focus on what you're feeling. You find out why you're feeling that way, and you learn to let it go. Okay? And there's brain balancing posture. If you put your body in this position with the arms and the hands, more communication is taking place between the right and left hemisphere of the brain. And what happens then? What you are focusing on goes more deeply into the subconscious. So you can begin to transform your subconscious. And this is a TAT method for PTSD and forgiveness in these kinds of techniques. Here's the freeze frame, which we talked about, the huge electromagnetic field of the heart, which affects the brain. And the healing code, and we do this on the inner. So these are the techniques which I will give you free. Anyone that wants, just send me an email which says, I want these, energy psychology. I would suggest, however, if you're not over 18, that you have your parents watch it first and see if they accept it. It's all positive stuff, but I don't want to create any problems for you. Ask your parents, do you agree with this? Is this something that you feel is valuable? And all these messages that we explained in the beginning. So, why don't we give a microphone to you, and you can express your questions, your feelings, whatever you would like to express. Someone had their hand over here. Someone like to ask something or state something. Anyone want to talk? Yes, there's a hand here. Okay, give her the microphone. She'll hear it more. Yeah, págale.
If you're reading like if you have something inside of you what you do with it, how do you like get it?
Okay. If you have something inside of you and you don't know what it is, we don't know what it is because we don't not aware yet of our subconscious and what's happening. So what we do is we relax, we go in, and the body knows. So there's a part of the body which is feeling that, and we focus on that part of the body, and we allow ourselves to feel that part of the body. And as we feel it, the emotion that is in us becomes apparent. We become aware of it. Okay, so it's a relaxation technique in which we become aware of the part of the body in which this has become stored, this feeling. Okay, and then we can employ the technique. But the interesting thing with these techniques is we don't have to put a name on the emotion. I'm not feeling well. I'm feeling disturbed. We don't have to put an exact name on it. We just do it, and then it comes to the surface, and we become aware of it. Okay, good question. Another question? Yes, I can't hear you. Give the microphone back.
Where did you study and what you do?
Okay, I'm a chemical engineer. I graduated from the Worcester Polytechnic Institute in Massachusetts. I worked for 2 years, and then I decided I wanted to do something else with my life. Actually, I was quite unhappy. I was disappointed in humanity. It was the time of the Vietnam War. I don't know if you ever heard of that, okay? And I was so discouraged, I said, well, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to leave my job and find a reason to live. And then I just began studying all these various forms of techniques for helping ourselves. many different sources from psychology, philosophy, religion, and these methods which I described to you. So from many different sources. Okay. Yes. Your microphone?
Do you follow a religion? That's kind of.
What?
Do you follow a religion?
I believe in all religions. I believe there's one divine consciousness which expresses itself through all religions, whether they believe in a form or not. I don't believe any specific religion has an exclusive guarantee on the divine. For me, you are all divine. For me, you are all expressions of God. That's what I believe. I believe that everyone and every animal and plant is an expression of a divine being, and we all are all that. I was born Christian. I, but I accept all religions. Okay? Yes?
It's happening. Interesting that when encountering this with you, for me, because I've been dwelling into these thoughts lately. There's a book of miracles. I don't know if you've read it.
What's the name?
The Book of Miracles.
Yes, I teach the Book of Miracles. I love it. Yeah.
You know, the writers like Eckhart Tolle.
Yes, totally. I did a seminar on Tolle this summer, yes. Yeah.
You know, they all talk about the same thing.
Yes.
Personally, it makes so much sense for me. As a mathematics teacher, it is so logical, it makes so much sense. How come that I'm so cognitively convinced of what you guys are saying, yet my anxieties and my emotional disturbance with what the outside events are so resistant?
Yeah.
How come we have this split between our cognition and convictions and our psyche?
It's a really good question. This is the way the techniques come in. Just believing something is not enough because the power of the subconscious is said to be 1,000,000 times stronger than a conscious belief. So consciously, we believe this, and this is why we use the techniques in order to make it an experience. So we start out by focusing on a situation which bothers us. We feel the emotion, we employ the technique, and at the end, we try to see if we can perceive this differently. And every time we perceive it differently, three changes take place. One change is what we call the pain body. Having read Tolle, you know about the pain body. The pain body is a part of our subconscious that wants to feel what it's used to feeling. If it's used to feeling the victim or sad, it wants to feel that again. It's addicted. It's even proven that our hypothalamus excretes certain hormones, they're called peptides, in which we become addicted to feeling rejected, to feeling angry, to feeling hurt, to feeling guilty. Okay? So we are actually chemically addicted to our emotions. So when I can focus on this situation and perceive it differently, this addiction is gradually healed. And the third change is our synapse. Every time we perceive something, certain synapses in our brain function in the same way. When I perceive it differently, new synapses are created. So we can actually change the way we perceive things and experience them differently. It takes time, though, and dedication. Am I getting the feeling we have to close? Okay. Okay.
I want to share something which happened to me. I was able to save a person in my family who had very big depression with tapping. So tapping is incredibly effective. How to calm down, how to be less depressed with only tapping 5 minutes. And Charlie exists at the school, and we have a club called Well-Being, and sometimes we do tapping. And sometimes in class.
Good.
So thank you very
So,
much.
okay, that's good. Okay. And then, thank you. Okay. May you be well.
Thanks.
Sure.
You're
I'm finished.
finished?
Well, unless we have more time.
So another big hand.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Please take the papers with you. They are listed. And thank you for being